So you've had the puberty talk, maybe you've handed your child a book, answered a curly question or two, or managed a conversation with totally melting into the floor. And now you're wondering, did I just finish sex ed? Am I done? If that sounds like you, you're definitely not alone. Lots of parents think sex ed is just a one time thing, something to tick off once you've covered the basics. But here's the truth sex ed isn't over, it's just getting started. The tween years, they're the beginning, not the end. And your child is changing fast, physically, emotionally, socially, and they're becoming more curious, more independent, and more exposed to stuff that you wish they weren't. And these conversations matter now more than ever before. So, in today's episode, I'm going to walk you through why sex ed is a long game and why that's actually good news, what to expect as your child grows into their teen years, and how to keep the conversation going without lectures, awkwardness, or overwhelm. I've helped hundreds of thousands of families with this stuff, and I can tell you, the parents who keep showing up, even imperfectly, are the ones whose kids come back to them where it really matters. And stick around to the end for a 1 minute mindset reset that will remind you that you're the right person for this job. What if talking to your tween about sex didn't make you want to run for the hills? On Sex Ed for Tween Parents, we ditch the awkward and keep it real with chats that actually work. I'm Cath Hakanson, sex educator, mum, and your guide to handling all the tricky stuff without cringing or making it weird. So, sex ed, it's a long game, and that's a good thing. And we're going to start with the big reminder it's not a one time talk, it's a lifelong conversation. And if you've already started, amazing. That was the hard bit, getting started. But here's why it can't stop there. The next few years are full of new questions, experiences, and challenges. Your child's going to go through puberty with more changes than you think will happen. There's going to be crushes, friendships, boundaries. There's going to be pressure from peers or the internet. And there's going to be curiosity about porn, consent, gender, identity, and relationships. So a chat or a conversation that didn't click at the 8 when they were 10 might really hit home when they're 13. And questions that they'd never ask now might pop up tomorrow or in a couple of months' time, and sometimes even at the most inconvenient time as well. And look, repetition matters because, look, let's be honest, kids rarely absorb everything we say the first time, especially if they're feeling awkward or distracted. And saying things more than once, it helps build that understanding, normalizes tricky topics, and lets you layer in more detail as they get older and as they mature. And every time you're showing up with a conversation, a random statement, you're sending them this message that you can talk to me about this and I've got your back. Super, super important. Now, your tone does matter for these things, and sometimes it can matter more than your actual words. Your child might not remember exactly what you said, but what they'll remember is how they felt. Did they feel safe? Did they feel judged? Did they feel that they could come back and talk about this with you again? You know, you can say a dozen times. It doesn't, you can mess it up and still win if you keep the door open. So what does this look like in real life? Let's take the pressure off. Sex ed in real life, it's one-liners in the car. Like, by the way, comments at bedtime, brief chats when they're doing jobs, and could be follow-ups after a movie scene or a book. And these aren't lectures, they're micro moments. And they're the ones that your child actually remembers. And yes, it might get messy. You'll get eye rolls, awkward silences, and moments where you're thinking, did any of that land? But then suddenly they'll ask a big question. They'll tell a friend, that's not what consent means. Or they'll come to you instead of turning to TikTok. And that's the magic, and it starts with you. Now, in a moment, I'm going to share a 1 minute challenge to help you shift from, saying something to letting and making sure your child knows that you're there for them. And if you're walking away from this episode with just one reminder, let it be this. Sex ed doesn't need to be perfect, just needs to be present. You don't need fancy scripts. You don't need to know it all. You just need to show up and be open to trying again. And to help you do that, I've got a free guide for you. It's called 5 Cringe-Free Strategies to Naturally Start Sex Ed Conversations. And inside it, you'll find some easy conversation openers. Nothing awkward. No, we need to talk moments. And you'll also find tips to keep things going when you get one-word answers. So some real-world examples are in there as well that will help you to stay confident even when the topic's tricky. Because sex ed isn't something that you finish. It's something that you weave in bit by bit over time. And if you ever feel stuck on what to say, you can also find resources over in the sex ed shop as well. Now, the cringe-free strategies, if you go to cringe-free-strategies.com, you can download it there or just click the link below this. Now, your 1-minute challenge. Say this out loud to yourself right now. I'm doing this. I'm the right person to talk to my child about sex. Yep, say it, even if it feels silly, because saying it out loud makes it real. And it's your reminder that you don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep showing up. Your child, they don't need a flawless sex ed expert. They actually need you, real, honest, and willing to talk. Thank you so much for tuning in to Sex Ed for Tween Parents. If this podcast has helped you feel even a little bit more confident or a little less alone, I would love it if you could leave a review. Helps more parents like you find this support, and it makes a big difference to their lives as well. And don't forget, you can grab the free guide at cringefreestrategies.com. And I hope that you're feeling a lot more confident about talking about puberty with your tween as they grow up.